Hello everyone, you know me, Koray Berkiber, the guy that you wait over 1 year so that he can finally publish the course. And I can tell you that most probably like over 90% is the last beta testing, and I guess we have spent over I guess around 15 hours maybe.
Yeah.
In 3 or 4 days we have spent like 15 hours together so that I can actually try my ways of teaching, and I was trying to understand what actually I should be removing and what I should be focusing on in what way. And Jason here, I guess we know each other longer than 1 year actually, with on and off with the emails and
Mm-hmm.
And as I say maybe previously or maybe later, as I will be saying, because I don't know with what order I will publishing these things, but I accepted only last 2 beta testers from the, let's say, most emailing consistently good people. And then we started to learn and teach together the semantic SEO based on the topical map creation or topical authority gaining steps and semantic content network definitions. And now I will be asking some questions to do actually Jason, there is a phone call, sorry, so it's good to keep it natural. And he will be asking it for you so that actually you can be sure about what you are getting it into, so that you shall not get angry to me later. Okay, the first question that I want to ask here is actually, you have seen that I don't use any kinds of tool. Basically you have realized that actually anything that I do here is just hand work. Do you agree with that or not?
I completely agree.
Is there any kinds of automation?
There is zero automation.
And I also wonder this too. I always ask, do you think that AI can write like this?
No.
Even if we actually just train it, still since there is not that much enough text like this, they won't be able to train it as well. So
No.
I believe it's not possible too, and I believe if you are able to write in this way, probably you will be getting the main advantage, because as it has been seen in the previous case studies too, it directly actually proves its authoritativeness with a certain type of tonality, and all the concepts are created, or there is a hierarchy there.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to the topical map creation, did you see something like that before?
Only watching you do it before online. Yeah, I mean no, I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah. And when it comes to the topical map creation, do you think that it is easy, or do you think that it takes really good amount of time?
No, it's definitely not easy. It's a different way of thinking from what most SEOs.
I believe it is the hardest part, right? Because since we don't use that much tool or something, it requires to train the brain for asking reflexive questions, and it doesn't happen always. At the same time, the other hard part is always having an empathy with the search engine and engineer.
Right.
So when you are able to do both of them at the same time, actually it works way much better, but it requires repetition all the time, because this is not like other SEO verticals. In other SEO verticals, usually there is a guide, steps, but in semantics, as it is stated, it's semantics, and you have to think about it before going there.
Yeah, every step.
Okay, and what was the most surprising thing for you?
The most surprising thing for me is the level of detail and granularity. It is.
So you didn't expect that it will be that much?
I knew it was going to be granular, and I expected there to be a lot of detail, but I'm still, even after having gone through the entire thing, I'm still surprised at the amount of detail and the building of relationships and connecting different parts of content, and it's
really,
at first it is overwhelming, yes.
Yeah.
And I still feel a little bit overwhelmed about it. So.
And here actually it's nearly 3 a.m. Finally we were able to finish many sections. That's why we look like a little bit tired. And okay, and a few more questions I will need to ask. First of all, you say that what is the most surprising thing for you, and which part was the hardest? Creating the topical map, creating the content briefs, arranging the internal links, finding the headings, or using the lexical relations, or creating paragraphs?
I would say that creating the topical map was probably the most challenging part, just because once you get a grasp on that, then the other parts tend to flow from it. But
and also borders. It is also
and the terminology
too. Yeah,
because
it's new.
It's new, and it's one thing to read it in a patent, but then I will say that like there were specific things that you brought up during this session that made the patents extremely clear, whereas before they were very opaque to me. So, but yeah, the topical map was definitely the most challenging part, just because used to working from a keyword list and creating articles based on keywords, and now it's topics, and it's trying to find related topics and trying to find subtopics.
And another thing is that when you focus on the concepts, like let's say if you tell some of them like correlative queries, sequential queries, user clustering, and how the user clustering actually works, accepting 5 million people as the one person, and then also uniting, let's say finding the centroids inside the query networks, and then actually observing them directly here with different predicates, different nouns, and seeing how they are actually behaving them each other inside the SERP, and seeing how different pages actually lose queries and come back. Even some sections were really clear there. And also observing SERP, or taking competitors, or generating questions, ordering questions, giving hierarchy to the questions, arranging anchor tags and internal links in an applicable way with the headings. I guess it was one of the hard parts too. What do you think about it?
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to what I mentioned before about the level of granularity. There are so many details. Like I've always thought of SEO as creating a roadmap for Google to try and understand content, but now this is going from a paper map to like Google Maps. I mean, it is so much more complex, so much more sophisticated, but so much more detailed. And I mean, the result is that, you get the traffic that you want. So,
and if you, for example, for your website, you will be actually applying all these things. And when you start to do these things, for example, which section do you want to start, and how do you actually, let's say, if you will be creating these content briefs by yourself, how would you go for it? For example, do you think that actually there are some templates that you can use there, or everything should be different from each other? Because in this area, usually in sentences or in the briefs, I believe you realize some patterns or patterns of the things between word relations or other areas. What do you think about it?
Well, that's kind of the beauty of the system, is that it's very hard to figure out initially, but then you start to see that there are patterns. Like we talked about the how-to query templates, the review templates, the guide listicle templates, things like that. So you're not reinventing the wheel every time. You're able to leverage what you've already created to then expand your content in the content network.
Yes. Okay then, so in this case, I guess this will be the last testimonial video. I also want to launch it, and I also want to save myself from all these processes, but believe me, it will be worth for you to wait for it. And do you agree with me?
I agree. Yeah, and be prepared. It's not like any other course you're going to take.
Yeah, it will be hard, but it will be eye-opening. I can definitely promise that. Okay then, thanks for listening us, and probably you will be in the community with us, and I guess Jason will be there too, since he has seen many things before you. You can also ask questions to him. They can, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay then. Thank you.